Hello reviewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're gonna talk about AI video is here and it's here to kill all trust. So let's dive deep into it. So before we dive deeper into it, we have to get some context, we have to get some bearing. So what is AI? AI fundamentally is a tool that does things for us. So these things basically do more than what a programming program can do, and basically instead of programming it, we train it. So it's more of a entity rather than just like, okay, this is exactly how it works. So it has a bit more leeway, a bit more flexibility. On top of that, the biggest reason why we give a damn about it is simply because it does not need programming like input. Now, it's a very long journey. We had computers before we had electronics. So you have to understand, like back in the days, we literally had punch card that could literally run a loom to create very intricate designs on fabric. But again, you had to talk it like a machine. So when did computer become a big deal? Well, when two people known as Steve Jobs and Bill Gates kind of understood that computers are run by idiots. So they were like, hey, this computer and all, it's awesome, it's good, but it can only be interpreted by someone who knows binary, who understands computer language. So they're like, what if we brought it to common people by introducing GUI? So basically they went it from keyboard to mouse. So that was the biggest jump, and that's how the better the UI became, more and more people used it. Now imagine that same thing. We are still doing more or less the same thing the coding guy back in the 1980s used to do. We are just better at it. But imagine you even leave that layer. You even let that part go. You just talk to it, basically. So if you can reach a point where it just talks to it and it fills in the blank, because why do two humans can talk? Because both of them carry an encyclopedia of collective knowledge. Now, again, that's why it's very difficult to communicate to someone who is in different country, because you may just say, hey, you know that politician, you may just give a random example and you just move forward, and that individual like, what, hey, apply brakes, give me some context to that. So you and I can simply talk and understand each other because we have collective encyclopedia, so to say. And when encyclopedias are too far apart from, like, let's say I can give an example of someone and you do not have that encyclopedia chapter, you will like, what the hell is he talking about? So fundamentally, AI has to be so good that its encyclopedia is big enough that human to computer talking can happen. And the biggest difference between program and an AI is that it improves. Basically, the more you use it, more user cycle it goes through, the better output happens. It's not like a program. It will do exactly the same thing all the time. That's not its intent. It improves. That's how it's so powerful. So that's back in the days we had a text to image AI. That's how it used to work. So whenever you type, like, can we have done what ChatGPT does today back in the day? Absolutely, but you have to talk it like a programmer. So right now you can type in ChatGPT, what is my journal entry for recorded the sale of a car for $10,000? You are talking like a human. It's like, hey, how would I do journal entering for, like, let's say my car is 10,000. You're talking like a human. It figures it out what you are asking, what is the intent behind it, and there is like, if it's bought in debit, you will say, hey, debit cash assets $10,000, credit sale revenue $10,000. It's gonna figure things out. Same goes with this Rabbit AI. All it is basically removing the layers needed in order to actually get stuff done. Do things. Like, for example, can you have done this sort of thing in Photoshop? Absolutely, but it would have required a hell of a hassle and input work. Now you can just say a snail made of lettuce, a snail with the texture of lettuce. You can make it. Can you do this in Photoshop? Of course, people do that. That's why we have blending layers. But that's a hell of a steps. And the AI is like, I got you, fam. That's all there is to AI. AI is a program that simply says, I got you, fam. And it improves. Now, you must have heard this term way too often right now. It's AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. Now, let this be very clear. General intelligence, how we define it, simply means like this, puppy. Exactly like a human. Meaning, if I put a wall and let you two people communicate, one person could be AGI and you would not be able to tell the difference. Meaning, it will talk, feel, behave, act, all of those things like a human, AGI. Now, be very mindful. Do we need AGI? The short answer is no. It's useless. It's practically useless. It will become more clear when I go dive deeper into the topic, but let's dive deeper. So this is what AI means. It's a tool that improves the more you use it. It's a tool that does things for you, and you have to just be like, I got this. You just talk to it and it fills in the blanks. And of course, if it makes mistake, like how we humans make mistake during communication, you can prompt it again. It's like, hey, I think you misinterpreted, this is what I want. That's how it does. So AGI is human mind. We don't actually need that, or this AI idea of AI that is supreme AI. We don't actually need that. And majority of AI is supreme to human. It's just that it's not general enough. So that will become more clear with more strokes of this painting that I had. Basically, how we started with noise and became an image. So what about the ability that is making all the buzz right now? Well, Sora happened, and Sora happened from OpenAI, which is again ChatGPT's daddy. So it's a big thing, and it's a tool. Now, tool is like any other tool. So what does this do? This do is input in a text prompt, meaning you just talk to it, and boom. The video is 1 minute long. Let that be very clear. There are many systems. Most of them poop their pant if they have to render more than 10 seconds. 1 minute full HD video and in HD resolution, meaning it's not like, because again, if I give you 360p, it's surprisingly easy to basically give a confusing output in 360p. Why do you think all UFO videos are in such a garbage camera? Like, we have 4K, we got 8K, we got 8K 120 FPS cameras nowadays. Heck, if you have Blackmagic, we have 12K, and you look into the UFO footage, it's like the crappiest camera ever invented by humanity. So same point, it's like not only it has the temporal length to be like damn, it has a resolution to be like damn, like it dares you to look into it and it's like, tell me where's the fault. It's like, I dare you. Now, all that so far just sounds like any other tool. Why this is such a big deal? Well, the biggest deal happened because it can pass, it gets the first pass. What does that mean? Is the human brain is like a computer. Now, because of its biochemical nature, it cannot run at 100% horsepower all the time. So what does that mean? That simply means when you're doom scrolling, you're not running your brain at 100%. You're just like, say, 30%. So it's just scrolling by it. But here still, all the AIs before this, if they had tried to render a, basically realistic footage, it will be so bad. It will, in that 30% compute power, your brain will be like, nah, man. It will be warping. It will be completely messed up. You'll be like, bro, that's a AI based. Come on, bro. Like, you would be like, bro, like at 30% compute. This can pass that. That's why it's such a big deal. That's why everybody is freaking out. In a doom scrolling mode, if you are like even content creator or videographer themselves, heck, even Steven Spielberg could be like just scrolling and he could just look at a AI system. His brain will interpret the message of it and it can scroll past it without ever triggering the red alert that he just watched a AI content. There was not a single thing done on that video. It was just typed. So that's why everybody is freaking out with this. It's like, this scene can happen. You can just scroll past it and you will not notice, because on first glance, it will not look like, whoa, it's AI hulululu. No, it's like, oh, it was just a scene. You just scroll back. Until somebody tells you, you won't. And you're like, no, I can look into it, because you're looking for it. If you are using 100% of your brain, of course you will notice it. But trick is, this crosses that, let's just say 30% threshold. Like, first look past, it clears it. This is the first time that has happened. That's why everybody finally is starting to understand, oh, AI is real, AI is here, and it's scary AF. I'm like, okay, this looks AI. Of course it looks AI. But the idea is somebody can just make this. You will always assume, like, imagine 5 years ago, I showed you this footage, you'll be like, dude, that CGI artist must have worked their ass off. Like, there is one individual who made Warhammer 40K universe. Is making very detailed 2-minute shots. Takes 1 year to make it. Like, if you, that level of content is here, and from that is like taking years, single individual working on, let's say, Blender or something like that, and like, rendering the whole scene out, doing everything. It's like meticulously hard work compared to, you're like, what the hell? 4 years ago, this was undigestible. People would have heart attack and they will think you are smoking something good. So this happened. First pass is already, even with realistic thing. Like, oh, it makes fake this, like, of course it is. Like, for example, in this woman demo, the earrings did not have coherence. So meaning, in one scene, earring is a loop. In another scene, the earring slowly devolves into a snail structure. So of course there are issues, but it passes the first glance. That's the time when every human is like under threat. Because here's it, you may be like, my brain's good, me good. Here's it, your fuel tank is not good. You will be clocked down to 30% most of the time. Actually, realistically, 80% of your lifespan is in that clock state. So more than enough things. And be mindful, this is the lowest it is. That's why I specified AI gets good the more you use it. So right now, let's say you can clock it, 50% of your brain power can detect it. Tomorrow you have to be 110%, meaning you have to look at it, study it again, brick by brick, pay attention to everything, and then also it may be very hard and you have to do it again and again. They're like, oh, okay, I noticed it. That's now people can see that horizon clearly. So it's scary. For the first time, every human on the planet is agreeing, yeah, we just crossed a threshold. So it's like Oppenheimer, where it's like before boom event, after the boom event, there was an absolute line. This is the absolute line. The first pass was cleared. Remember this moment. So what can we expect in the future in terms of video domain? Well, reality at this point in time, how the heck AI is working? Well, AI is inherently dreaming. So that's why it has the dream-like quality where like a dog can just walk from one porch to another porch. Because again, if you're thinking logically, you're like, hey, dude, there is a window. You cannot go through the window. So but imagine how the heck we do not know that we are dreaming. Why? Because our brain is compositing a scenery, a imagery from our memories. Memories is the same in this scenario, is stock footage, and it's crafting it. Now it's crafting of good enough, pleasing enough, where it's bypassing our filter layer. So it's dreaming. So if you asked it to change one minor thing, it's like, hey, that window, just change that window. Yeah, it will have very hard time unless you create another AI that looks into that AI's work and then processes it something. It's not going to happen because again, AI is dreaming. That's why if you used any text to image generator, you must always get like 4 prompts, and it's like never exactly what you want. It can't do that. It's dreaming. Every time you change the prompt, it has to re-dream it. So fundamentally, it's there. It's basically painting frame by frame. It's almost old school, like Star Wars level of VFX, very old school. They're used to actually paint the scene. However, to give it a more powerful oomph, right now it's in a 2D domain. We have to go from 2D domain to this domain. Basically, VFX industry already figured out. So back in the early VFX days, people used to have like, composite, this sort of thing. Now it's a modern trend where it's like everything you see generally is a 3D object. Now, again, it could be very low resolution, very low poly. It may sometimes be directly ripped off from Google Map, but there is always 3D there. Why? Well, a low poly 3D scene still gives you better coherence than anything else. If you play into video gaming industry, we build this sort of rigs, and that rigs allows you to do anything. So camera can move whatever direction it needs to. Imagine right now you talked with the AI, the same AI, and it's like, hey, give me a cat walking there. Now you will randomly notice that, hey, why the heck cat randomly had 5 legs? That will never happen if you had a low poly mesh. Now be mindful, these meshes are quite high poly. Low poly mesh simply has to be an outline where it has to sketch. Heck, it could be from game engines point of view to AI's point of view is just a pixel shaded pixel images that are 3D, and then AI can paint on it. Then it has enough depth, enough there, the coherence issue won't be there. So it won't be like, oh, the glasses were there and glasses just disappeared, or like puppies randomly come out. It's like, no. And every feedback loop that is doing, there is a continuous, there is a filter layer. It's like, yeah, the cat can only have like, 4 legs. When it tries to, model the legs, it can't randomly just like, lol. So that will solve the coherence issue. Like that's how we do VFX right now. Like if let's say in Game of Thrones, they are like, hey, I want this dragon, and the half side of the face would be chopped off. Okay, you make the whole thing. Of course, the detail difference, but benefit is now let's say the art director looks at the rendered footage and it's like, yeah, this is cool and all, but we are not feeling the orgasm here. What if you change the camera angle and all that? Not an issue. Of course, it will require re-rendering. It will be expensive, but it's not an impossible task. It's just minor inconvenience or temporal inconvenience. It takes a lot of time to render. So that will be the next layer. Basically, how VFX is built, CGI is built, that will be. It will solve the temporal cohesion issue and fluid morphing, whereas like things are like, that won't happen because there is a 3D geometry to basically lock it down. It will be just take a 3D render of the scene, paint it, send it back, get the next frame, everything will be coherent. And the day that is done, I do not think it will be done anytime soon, 5 years I would say, because be mindful, right now we are in 2D domain and it's so good that I do not think anybody will like, do we really need to add third geometry, the third dimension to it? Yeah, we need. But if we did, it will be like, damn. At that point in time, I can guarantee you, it will require 110% attention span to actually look into it, analyze it, study the damn thing, slow it down, and then you're like, okay, I can notice it. Right now, we are not there. And I do not see anyone who's like actively, that's why like they are talking, oh, it does not know right from left, because it's not 3D, it's 2D, it's dreaming. Basically, we have to make it like a 3D geometry and 2D painting. Have sex with both two of these elements, and output would be creepy. Creepy as in like it will be so accurate. So what are the consequences? Now remember the good old days of 2 years ago. Back in the days, I'm pretty sure most of you should be old enough and should have memory deep enough where you can remember that. It's like every Tom, Dick and Harry was talking, because we had this sort of era where it's like factories will be automated, self-driving cars, and like, self-autopilots in aircrafts and all that will happen. But AI cannot touch the creative work. I can distinctly remember this statements happening where they were like, oh, AI cannot write a poem, AI cannot sing a song, AI can't do blah, 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 blah. And we are here. Right now, if any Tom, Dick and Harry, including, MKBHD says like, oh, it can't do, it's like, no, it crossed the threshold long ago. It crossed it. Like things is done, crossed. Now, anytime you say, oh, human imagination is hulululu, it's not. All it is a memory melting pot. And what is the AI's memory? Whatever we capture it. What do we capture? Everything in cameras nowadays. So fundamentally, AI can imagine same things as we do, and actually it can imagine even a bit more. So, because be mindful, every time it imagines something, that becomes its next memory data set. So it can go wild. Basically, it can go more wild than people who are like high as a kite. Even it can go higher than that. It can go higher than a satellite. So realistically speaking, that part is solved. Like, think about it this way, that just 2 years ago. Every time, oh, it can't do creative work. Of course, it's gonna remove menial menial works and all that. I'm like, every work is menial work. And this is where we come to the crux of the matter, is that AI is just a human mind in a server. That's all AI is. That's what we are trying to do. It's basically whatever this puppy does, we want that thing to be done on a circuit board. Like, for example, you take a plane. Landing a plane is a complex task. The pilot is doing a lot of calculation. But here's the deal. If you extract that part only, it's just like how much horsepower does it take to calculate and compute and properly land a plane? It's not that much. We built it long ago. And we built better systems and more better systems, more reliable systems. And right now you can have a plane that lands the plane safely. But it cannot. No. Study any aircraft investigation report. Majority of the time, it will always be human flaw that crashes the plane. Rarely, if ever, we have an issue where a plane would be crashed. One time it did happen where a cosmic ray bit flipped a computer code and it freaked out too much. So that did happen. But almost everywhere else, it would be something a human did wrong. So anytime people go, what if it crashes? What if this happens? I was like, do you remember the good old ancient times of 1969? Apollo mission was so complex, it required computers. How would you trust a computer for human life? People were like, hey, bro, we have mathematics. Yeah, if you make something reliable enough, as in let's say 99% time reliable enough, you put 3 of these things, the likelihood of anything going bad catastrophically, if you design it properly, would be 0. That's how we had the whole moon mission. No problem. Computers are like, I got you, fam. 3 computers. 1 faults out, 2 of them, I got you, fam. No issue. That was 1969. You have more compute than that in your smartphone today. And like, but my smartphone crashes. No, it does not. We try to keep doing more and more and more and more. We keep expanding what it does. That's why it keeps crashing. That's why your aircraft software does not crash. Yeah, F-35 will crash because they are trying to do a bit more. It's like, what if it has a torrent network in the sky which is like collecting the temporal data of 50, 60 radars and then processing it? I'm like, bro, relax. It's a fighter jet computer. Relax. So same thing, like, of course, once we reach a point where it's like, oh, okay, this is stable enough, we expand it. Of course, it becomes unstable. Then next time that happens, where it's like, okay, now we got this stable, now we expand it more, so it becomes unstable again. That's how we grow. So AI is just that part, human part that is responsible for it. So for example, pilot who is responsible for landing a plane safely, that part is very small of him. He could be this big. The part of his brain that is needed for safe landing would be this small. Like, does it matter like how is his sex life is? No. Does it matter he's rich or poor? No. Does it matter like what religion he believes in? No. If all things are competent, it does not matter. So what if you remove the 80% that is useless? That's the whole point of AI. That's why we are working so hard, so many corporations, to remove human. It's like it's not needed. It's overqualified. Basically, in simplest sense, it's overqualified. You do not need a human to drive a car. Right now, we have human driving the car because computer was not good enough. To be mathematically precise, we did not have cheap LiDARs yet. So that's the whole point. Any job, take any job on the planet, does not require 100% of human to be there. Even a surgeon, it's like he needs dexterity of his hands. But again, that individual has so much more. He has life, he has a family. Does that matter to that competency? No. So that's the whole point. AI only needs to do that small base. That's why I laugh at people like, oh, it's not reaching artificial general intelligence. It's like it does not need to kick our ass. Like, this AI does not need to worry about inflation. This AI does not need to worry about fuel cost. All it needs to like, hey, you put fuel in me, I need to understand the map, I need to understand the weather pattern and how it affects my driving. Nothing more than that. Same goes here. It does not need to worry about fuel price. It does not even need to worry about road condition. It's like, bro, I'm here, I'm there. And like, what if this happens and that happens? Here's the plane has crashed most of the time because of humans. So that will happen. Again, you can never reach absolute zero, but you can reach better than human. And that's why I said it's like you only need a small bit. That's the same thing is happening in warehouse logistics right now. Have no computers ever made a mistake in logistics AI? Hell no, they made enough mistake, but those mistakes counts are low enough where it's like, hey, it's cheaper than human. That's the whole point. That's the consequence. And all this happened in 2 years. We went from menial jobs to, okay, now we see what people are scared of. Every single job is a menial job from AI's point of view, because we are building it just to do that. It does not have emotion, does not have religion, it does not have hulululu. It's just like, I'm built just to do this one thing, I'm going to do it. The end, go home. So this is why I classified this point as death of trust. Why? Well, many people will say, oh, it's the same as Photoshop. Hell no. Like, what are you smoking? It's not. Like, I can give you a simpler example. The earliest stage of AI, that's why this is the, boom event, is that if you looked at in the early days of deepfakes, when the pawns were being made, majority of them looked horrible, but some of them were so good that it passed. Like, the first pass, the first pass. How the heck some of them? Because it was an automated tool rather than a full-fledged AI. It was an advanced tool. So somebody was spending time. It's like, okay, this female actress looks exactly like this female chassis. Only then this will work. It won't be like, okay, it looks like, let's say color rating would be like, let's say 30, and you just mixed it with 35. It will not, color will not blend. It will like, it's like trying to forge a file that is like, one file is like 8-bit, another file is 10-bit. Yeah, it's not going to work. So that's the whole point. Somebody had to craft it. So there was a labor intensive process that was a filter. You remove that filter where it's like anybody who can think and does not have to think through. Like, for example, CGI, Photoshop, all of them needs a lot of effort in order to, make them good. Like, we have been doing Photoshop ancient long ago. People were trying to do deepfakes long ago, but it was always garbage. It was always horrible because you needed to be very competent to get stuff done. Right now, AI does not need that thought process. It does not need you to think about it. It does not need to, okay, do you understand the intricacies of human structure? Like, do you understand it? Like, everyone's eye lines are a bit different. Yes, we all have 4-finger eyes and all that, but it's a bit different. Somebody has like this lines, where it curves, it's different. So all of that had to be there. Without it, it won't work. But now it's just a wish. You wish for it now, it just magically works. That's why I said it was the threshold. The boom event has happened. So now you can wish for it and AI will be like, I got you, bro. I got you. And again, little bit of feedback here and there, and I can guarantee you the moment AI touches 3D dimension, yeah, that will be the time people, everybody who's like at the fence right now, that's the moment they will start to poop their pant. So that will happen. And then we come to another delusion that I've seen way too many people talking about. Is like, it can be policed. I'm like, no, it cannot be. Law of physics does not allow you to police it. I was like, what the hell law of physics has to do? Well, it's the same thing as an arms race. For example, how the heck you gonna police YouTube AI's flooding? AI flooding is happening right now and it's garbage. It's like, you can detect it. Like, that's what I talked about in my recent video of miscommunication with science. So many science BS content is happening, which even the thumbnail looks like, dude, AI just made it. It's like, they lied to us. They lied to us. Type that and you will be like, every Tom, Dick and Harry is like, they lied to Michikaku was lied to, India lied to it, Joe Rogan lied to it. It's like, everybody lied to it. It's like, and again, those are AI content. Again, if you do have wisdom, they'll be like, hey, if we do not poof this out of our content platform right now, it will burn enough people that sooner or later, as in like 2 to 3 years from now, YouTube will be looked down as a garbage content platform, and then people will just fade away from it. It has happened with things. So, and not taking care of that easy problem today, do you really trust that they're gonna take care of like a really complex, intricate scam? Hell no. Again, I assume they would, because again, if they want to make money in long term, short term, yeah, more attention, more ads and more blah, blah, blah. Yeah, in short term, it makes sense, but long term, it destroys the platform. It's the same reason how Nintendo survived. It learned the hard way, where it's like, dude, do not flood the content. Make sure it's a good, thoughtful content. You remove that, flooding happens, bad things happen. So it can't be policed, because you're going to make an AI to police it. Somebody's going to make an AI to beat that AI. We had the same thing with piracy. It's like, we're gonna do this encryption. It's like all encryption does is pieces of people who are actually paying for it, nothing else. So same thing, just saying, I'm gonna have an AI that detects this. It's like, yeah, no. And again, first time there will be some AIs that are actually good, but they will be good for limited duration. Then there will be better AIs. Then they're like, okay, I'm gonna make it better. Again, how long would you spend that money? That's non-policeable, fundamentally. So now this is comes the more bitter aspect. These things have happened differently, but all of them reach to this conclusion of death of trust, is that we do not trust our family. Now, why the heck that happened? Well, go to the family court near you. Look at the laws. Anywhere there is 200 countries on this planet, I can dare you to do this in around 150 countries, and output will be the same. You will lose faith in humanity. Go to the family court near you. Anywhere, I dare you. India, anywhere, I dare you. So once you look at, okay, so once you have destroyed the family unit, what is left? What about news channel? Do you trust it? Ask yourself, do you trust it? Here's the deal. News channel have pissed away their credibility so thoroughly that even if they do true reporting, nobody will trust it. That's gone. Family is gone. What about politicians who are in the charge, in controlling things? Yeah, no. Why not? Well, they do not have consequences. So I could have a politician who's like, we're gonna build solar roadway. We're gonna burn $10 billion away. Oh yeah. Are there any consequences for them? No. But you have to pay taxes. You have to bear the penalty of wasting that much money and increasing inflation. You will suffer for it. So let's just put it that way, that you're not trusting politicians. What about teachers? Again, majority of humans have failed. So I would say teachers have failed us. Like, and again, I do not mean this bad way, but teaching wise, the only reason I can even see this world functioning as I am is like because I had very good teachers. And let this be very clear, I was lucky AF where I had so many good teachers, because otherwise other teachers would have just made me poof. So we no longer have trusting family. In case of India, India got this poison in 1984. Other countries got it in 1930. Japan got it just after World War II. It got it and it's dead now. So family unit gone, news gone, politicians gone, teacher gone. What the hell is left? Let that be very clear. What the heck is left? Now look, what about faith? God. Now God died long ago. The moment the world started to travel, the world became smaller, where we started to travel, all religion died at that precise moment. The moment religion touches other religion, it dies. Both of them die. So what happens? Conflict happen, violence happen. Why does it happen? It tries to reassert the imaginary BS of one. So it's like, you cannot have two gods. Okay. So you, let's say a polytheistic religion, or says a monotheistic religion, it cannot exist in the same plane. One has to die. So that's why we used to have thousands of religion. Most of them killed each other off, and now we have, let's say, 3 to 4 major religion, 5 or 6 smaller religion, and over time all of them will be died away. So we figured it out. Factually, we have crossed that threshold where you can talk a big game, you can be like the faith, the Lord, and all that. You can go all in on it, but it does not contact here because it cracked that. Like, we are outside of the well. We are no longer the residents of a well. So we have crossed that point. So we no longer have faith to fall back onto. So what does it lead to? Let's say all these things happened, past tense. What does it lead to? It leads to building an echo chamber that we ourselves cannot break through. Basically, this thing on a global scale, on a neurological level, to every single human individual. Like, I was seeing this happening in the real time, quote unquote, and it was shocking the amount of hysteria people had. It's like, dude, this guy does not have the horsepower you think he does. Like, there is a reason why you have constitution. There is a fail-safe. Within fail-safe with some extra help. Yeah, they are not amazing, but they are more than enough. It was not like, hey, it's not Putin. So fundamentally, that was like very that hysteria, and that hysteria created a self-fulfilling prophecy. More bad things happened. So why? Echo chambers. We cannot sustain a human civilization if everybody starts to build echo chambers. Like, we cannot have, we obviously have very different ideas. It sounds a very harmless thing, but we are reaching a point where somebody would say E equal to MC, somebody will say E equal to MC square, somebody will say E equal to MC cube. We are reaching that level. So fundamentally, it's a very, very bad. That's why I said, like, without trust, we don't have actually anything. Like, heck, Indian news channels, when they were talking about Indian space programs, Indian Aditya mission that was going to Sun, they showed images of European crafts. I'm like, now again, it's a small thing, but again, it erodes trust. Erode enough of the trust, there is nothing left. So basically, we are unlocking Pandora's box without any contingency. What the hell are we gonna do? So basically, we are reaching a final point, death of trust itself. Everybody will believe what they want to believe without having a concrete coherence of human civilization. It's a bad and scary world. So this was my presentation on basically death of trust and the boom event that happened just now. So hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you are free, and as always, thanks for watching.